And greetings everyone, and I am here on this evening. I want to do a quick video as quickly as I can. I hope this don't be too long. It won't be too very long, but the person you see next to in the video is, I think her name is Candace Owens, and I came across this video the other night, about several nights ago, and I just was absolutely compelled. I had to respond to information that this person is dispensing or giving out in her video. Particularly, it deals with Colin Kaepernick and his. She talks about several other things, but primarily Colin Kaepernick and his protest. And I'm going to, the video is a total of 6 minutes and 51 seconds. I'm going to go 4 minutes into the video. Is really all I want to respond to. The last 2 minutes and 51 seconds is the only thing I really want to address. And I want to highlight some things here. This person, Miss Owens, is giving out information. Much of it is fallacious. It's just ridiculous for someone to claim that they have so much factual information and they're so on point to dispense such distorted information and facts, and it's just ridiculous. But I want to highlight this. Here in the next few minutes, and let's begin. Again, I'm going 4 minutes into this video, and this is where I'm going to start, and this is what she had to say.
Huh? Colin, you are a citizen of the year to no one but the Democratic globalists and their media cohorts who work overtime to make sure black people stay on the cycle of nonsense.
Okay, now, obviously that's my first problem. Okay, this claim of those who don't agree with her or believe as she does that we're somehow trapped in some cycle of nonsense. Well, as this video, my video, responding to hers unfold, we're gonna see who is actually the one trapped in a cycle of nonsense, and it ain't me. And we're gonna watch this. Let's continue.
The same media that refuses to talk about actual issues facing the black community, and
okay, now refuses to talk about actual issues facing the black community. Now she's getting ready to make a claim. Let me go ahead and let her finish this.
I gotta tell you, it's not police brutality.
Now, so she just made the claim that you know, whatever network or whatever Colin Kaepernick or whatever she was saying about Colin Kaepernick, that he's not, in essence, she's implying he's not dealing with actual issues facing the black community. She implies that she is, however, and then she makes the claim that police brutality is in fact not an issue facing the black community. Now, that in and of itself is an asinine statement, and I'm gonna highlight this and point. Now she makes some argument. She's about to start an argument here, but I'm gonna show you how fallacious. Let me try to find a nice word. I'm going to show you how fallacious and full of just error her information is. Now, again, bear in mind, you know, she just made a statement and a claim police brutality is not an issue in the black community. Never mind all the studies and research that have come out talking about the disproportionate use of force and that African Americans has suffered. I'm gonna read some things from Boston University Medical School of Medicine and some other things, and I'm gonna put these links down below to substantiate my claims, unlike Miss Owens. But we want to look at this a little bit closer. Let's listen to as she builds this fallacious argument.
16 unarmed black men were fatally shot by police in 2016. 16.
Now, you see how she does the little, like she's emphasizing, like, knucklehead, get it. Okay, it's just 16. What's the big deal? In other words, look at her posture now. Like, what's the big deal? It's just 16. Okay, obviously that's not any of your loved ones, and you obviously don't give a crap. for the families who have lost loved ones and had no posing no threat as far as a weapon was related. There's protocol for taking down a suspect or what have you when there's no weapons involved, there's no threat of gun, knife, billy club, or whatever. There's no threat. It's really interesting to me how these mass shootings and predominantly Caucasian young men engaged in these mass shootings, and every single one of them have been brought in safe, and no bullet holes, nothing. So it's obvious that it's known that these procedures can. How do you take someone that you know is armed and dangerous, that have murdered cold-bloodedly, but yet the number now she says was 16. Well, we're gonna look at that a little bit deeper in a few minutes and show that that number is probably not accurate, but in the context that it is, 16 is still 16 people that's not coming home. Tell that to the daughter of one of those men or the son of one of those men, how insignificant that number is, that their dad is not coming home ever again and be in their lives. Tell them about that with this nonchalant posture that, oh, it's just 16. That's appalling that you would even make a line of reasoning such as that. But listen to this foolishness as it continues.
Meanwhile, approximately 1,876 black babies are aborted every single day.
Okay, every single day. Now, here's where it starts to get crazy, and you can begin to see the fallaciousness in her reasoning and her argumentative abilities. Her logic is off. In other words, what she just embarked upon, and she's going to continue to build this even further. But it's two areas of logic fallacy that could be actually applied here. One area of logic fallacy, I'm gonna have to, because this is kind of a long word, the fallacy of relative privation. The fallacy of relative privation. And what this is when let's say in a discussion, in an argument, someone is focused on or makes a particular point or presents a particular matter, and then someone comes to attempt to rebut that, if you will, but do it from the standpoint of saying, well, here's a more significant issue, and so your issue is irrelevant because here's a more important issue. And why are you camped on this irrelevant issue when this issue is more significant and more important? And that's called a fallacy of relative privation. And it's absolutely it's fallacious. That's why it's called a logic fallacy. It's foolish reasoning, because it suggests that, okay, nobody's gonna argue that whatever happens with little babies and abortion, that's significant. But what does that have to do with the fact that Colin Kaepernick has been consistent from the very beginning in terms of his focus and why he's taking a knee? And it has to do with injustices in the form of police brutality and these types of affairs. So while the abortion issue is significant, what does that have to do with trying to marginalize or trying to make his position look somehow irrelevant or insignificant, and then throwing numbers in like, oh, just 16 folks are dead to try to drive this notion home that your whole point is irrelevant? As I said, tell that to the child whose father was in that 16, in that number 16. I'm trying to be nice because I want to say some words, but I'm trying to be nice. So pray for me and pray for this person, because she needs Jesus, as far as I'm concerned. But the point is to try to argue that somehow his position is irrelevant because you got numbers that you feel are more significant. Well, there are many people on the front lines of the abortion issue, and God bless them. And so our prayers go out and go forward. There are many people who feel that abortion is wrong, but yet They haven't stood outside an abortion clinic in protest because they may not have been compelled in that way. There are those that do that every weekend or every chance they get because they're compelled. Well, how are you going to try to marginalize what Colin Kaepernick, just because that's not his particular aim and focus, that somehow what he is focused on is irrelevant? That's foolish reasoning, and everything that she says throughout this entire piece is riddled with foolish reasoning. Now, she's articulate and she speaks well, but that's the problem. But she speaks well, but her research sucks. She needs to do more research before, and it just gives me the notion that she's a mouthpiece for someone. Somebody propped her up, you know, to say, oh, let's put a black face on all this foolishness and make it sound like it's, you know, something black folks need to buy into. But it's ridiculous. But let's keep going here.
In the United States. Meanwhile, 762 black Americans were slaughtered in Chicago alone.
Again, that's a significant concern. But, you know, why is she laying that at Colin Kaepernick? There are people that are concerned about Chicago. There are many 501c3 agencies and ministries that are marching, holding rallies, and trying to bring awareness to that problem. So, but that's a whole nother issue. Now, you could say, well, black on black. Well, but that's not necessarily what Colin Kaepernick's concern is. Yes, there are issues in the black community concerning black on black crime. And there are people that are called to that. All of us should be concerned. And I will agree, more things need to be done in the black community. And my prayer is that we will engage and do even greater things concerning these issues. But again, that's logic fallacy. That's fallacious. That has nothing to do with arguing from that angle as if somehow that marginalizes or makes what Colin Kaepernick is doing somehow hypocritical or insignificant. It's just foolishness. It's foolish reasoning, and only blind, foolish people buy into this line of reasoning, because it again, go look up fallacy of relative privation and learn how absolutely off base this whole line of, you can't lay those things at this man's feet and say what you're doing is irrelevant because you're not addressing the abortion issue. I'm sure he's concerned about babies, but his concern has always been, and been consistent, that his concern is dealing with see, that's the uniqueness about community. Everybody is not called to do everything, even though all of these things may come together to build a stronger community. But everybody's not called for every aspect or every problem. That's why you have people that specialize in certain things and deal with certain issues. Even in the spiritual sense, you have evangelists. They tried to attack Dr. King. Why are you not doing what Billy Graham is doing? He's spreading the gospel. He's in the tents leading people to Jesus. Well, and nobody's disrespecting that, and that's important. And Dr. King, in his services at his church, he did things of that nature, but his primary focus was social justice. So everybody have a role to play. And to sit here and say he's somehow in error because he's not over here in leading the abortion charge, or because he's not over here leading the issue going on in Chicago, where there are great people in place that are concerned and moving. We need more. I agree. But to try to use that as an argument against Colin Kaepernick is disingenuous. It shows ignorance to me, you know, and deceptive and deceitfulness. Let's continue.
If the highest priority is preserving black lives, you'd think you'd hear a lot more about those stats.
Okay, well, maybe you should hear a lot more about those stats. But again, she's inferring something upon Colin Kaepernick that he never... listen, again, all these numbers are important and they have their place. And we need to be, as a community, more concerned. And prayerfully, we will do even more things than those who... There are people marching in Chicago. Listen, these people are doing the best they can with the resources that they have. And so to suggest that all that should fall on Colin Kaepernick if he's really concerned is just ludicrous. It's just another way to try to skirt the issue and try to demonize this man for his particular position, and because you can't really address his claims directly, you got to bring all this other foolishness in to the equation and try to tear him down through fallacious lines of reasoning and whatnot. And it just shows how ignorant, you know, your whole position is, in my opinion. Let's move on.
More police officers are fatally shot by black men every year. We lost 16 black men and 147 police officers in 2016. Interestingly enough, in New York...
Okay, now, we're going to go back. I'm going to back this up about the New York stuff, but I want to highlight what she just said. And it's very easy because a friend of mine, Fred Smith, who listened to this also swore up and down. She said black men killed 147 police. Now, she didn't actually say that, but the way she phrased that, that's what you could easily come away with thinking. Now, she did three things right back to back. She first said black men kill more cops than anyone else, in essence, every year. Now, I tried to find that bit of research. I never found it. It sounds, black men kill more cops every year. That's just not, even though I can't find where it says that, but I can't find either where it doesn't say it. So I'm you know, the jury is out on that, but it just doesn't sound right. But let me say this, the number 147 is not right. I don't know where she got that particular number from, and that's just, again, a testament to her weak research and just, you know, going off and saying things before you've actually done at least some homework. Because, I mean, you know, when I looked up 2016, she gave the number of 16 unarmed black men killed in 2016. Now, that's accurate only to a degree, and I'm going to point that out in just a moment. But 16, okay, we go with that. The number 147, I don't know where that came from. I haven't found that number. What I did find is in 2016, if my numbers are correct, it's 135 cops, policemen, that were killed in 2016. Now, that's not 147. You might say, well, it's close. Well, but it's not. And again, I don't know where she got that number from. But also, what she fails to provide in terms of information here, and I think is very relevant in the manner in which she presented this. She said black men kill more cops every year. There's 147 dead cops in 2016 with only 16 dead black men. So now if you just listen to that and walk away, what it sounds like is, the way she strung all that together, it sounds like black men killed 147 cops in comparison to only 16 unarmed black men. That's an absolute lie, folks, in terms of comparing those numbers. None of that is accurate in the sense of the way she presented that, in the way it sounds. Like she's trying to get people to think, in the way even my friend thought that she had said. First of all, only in 2016, out of the 135, what she does not point out is that number, and again, her number is wrong altogether, but 135 cops died in 2016. And folks, that was all forms of death in 2016. That wasn't just, matter of fact, those who, if my numbers are correct, those who got shot as far as in gun battles or by guns was 64. The other number, the larger number, it was car accidents. That tends to be a very close second, if not first, in certain years, that police dying from car accidents. Now, none of that she talks about. She just gives you this blanket notion that 147 cops are dead, and it's an implied that at the hands of black folks, in comparison to only 16. That's and see, I can't believe that was accidental. I can't believe those numbers were strung together like that just accidentally. that was intentionally strung together like that to deceive. First of all, the 147 is not accurate. It was 135. Of that number, all of those aren't cops killed by black folks, certainly, but by all forms of death that cop experience, car accidents and so forth. Even one year, I don't know if it was this year, 2 cops was killed from cops by some freak accident or some accident that occurred. So and of that 64 that was killed in 2016, all of those weren't by black folks. So these numbers that she's throwing out here to try to paint and give this image is just completely false and bogus. And you would think somebody that's been on some of the major talk shows, but of course she's being propped up by somebody. Somebody is putting her face out there to spew all of this false information to try to deceive and suggest that there is no real argument here in terms of police brutality and the concerns that black community should have regarding that. Like that's just all made up. And all yet in the light of all of these studies, and I'm going to present a few, it's just ridiculous that you still have this type of rhetoric being spewed and then done so with the idea that I'm the one got all the facts and the truth. And all of this mess is just skewed or just blatant lies. Okay, now on this issue though of the 16 that died in 2016 and this claim that there's really not an issue in the black community concerning police brutality, you know, as I did further research, I wondered why she chose the number, the year 2016, because if she had went the year before, 2015, we would have discovered. Now, folks, the number I'm about to give is a number, the official number, but I'm going to show you from another area of research that I did how that number is not fully inclusive of all the deaths of unarmed black men in 2015. But if she had given the numbers from 2015, it's reported that 36 folks in 2015, 36 unarmed black men were killed. Now, it's 36 that's not posing a threat to officers, at least from the standpoint of a physical weapon, such as a gun, knife, some kind of club or something. In other words, these are unarmed. They don't have any weapons, physical weapons. Now, that doesn't mean they're not huge or big or tall or heavy or whatever. But the fact is, there's protocol for dealing with, listen, if you can bring in mass murderers, every recent mass murderer in 2018, maybe even back in 17, these Caucasian men that have killed 12, 13, 14 people at a time, all these individuals brought in, these are known murderers, known killers, brought in, well, you know, they might have a little scuff here and there, but they're alive and they don't have bullet holes in them. How can you know how to bring in mass murderers that will kill you, but yet an unarmed black man, we got some problems with that. You know, to disproportionate numbers. We got problems with 2015, 36 brought in, killed. That's 30. Now, mind you, at 4 minutes, I started her video roughly 4 minutes in. At that point, she makes the claim that police brutality is not really an issue in the black. Folks, again, this is how absolutely ridiculously low down and selfish a person has to be when you know there's 36 families out here. Now, you might say, well, in reference to the population, who cares? That's not important. Well, that's like saying, okay, you know, out of 13% black, hey, what's the big deal if I take one and execute them and pop them in the head with a few rounds? It's just one person. Even one person, and especially when this is making it to social media and and hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people see this and are impacted. We're going to look at a study in a moment about the impact of this on particularly because studies have shown the impact of these shootings on the black community. It's a significant impact that these shootings have on the black community. This has been proven in study. Okay, but now 36 dead people, completely unarmed, with all the protocols that are out there for dealing with unarmed. We seem to be able to manage to bring in mass murderers and killers unscathed, but 36 in 2015, 36 unarmed black, we can't manage them. We don't know how to bring them in any kind of, even if you got to draw your weapon, if they don't have a weapon, it couldn't a knee, shoulder. You gotta aim center mass to kill, to take a life. And folks, when you got 5 and 6 bullets in an unarmed, that's a whole. I'm not even gonna go there. The point is, the idea that there's not a problem with 36. Now, let me show you how that 36 number in 2015 is actually not accurate. Let me show you this from an article. And again, I'm gonna post these links so you can go and read this material for yourself. Not only is the 36 number probably not accurate, well, I know it's not accurate based on this information I'm about to read, but also the 16 number for 2016 is, I'm quite sure, not accurate. Now, I'll say this: it's accurate in the context of, individuals killed by a bullet, unarmed, black men killed by a bullet. Yes, that number 16 is probably accurate for 2016. But I'm gonna show you some deaths of also unarmed men that were not by a bullet, but it was still a death of an unarmed man that's not included in that figure. Now watch this. Okay, in 2015, it was 36 black males killed unarmed. Okay, now let me show you how that number is not actually accurate. I'm going to provide this link below this video, but this link is to an article called "How Conservatives," and I'm a conservative myself, folks, but this person is having some issues with conservatives, and in some degree I do too. I have issues with Democrats, liberal. I have issues with conservatives when they're not right. But how conservatives use made up and or misleading nonsense to justify police killings. This is by Nathan J. Robertson, and this article, I'm going to read this, and its target is focusing on 2015, the number of deaths, which was 36. But he's showing in this article how that number is actually not accurate. He did this article actually to deal with, it's a statistic out there that's claiming that 18.5%, there's a 18.5% chance of a police being killed by a black man than a black man being unarmed black man being killed by a police. And he's actually addressing how that number is bogus, how that calculation is not accurate. But here's the point that he makes about 2015, the 36 dead unarmed black men in 2015. But he's saying that number is much higher, and this is why. He says you should be able to instantly notice that the 18.5, talking about that percentage, can't actually be correct for McDonald's, not the burger place, but this whoever did this research, her name is Mac, her last name is McDonald's. Particularly concludes she uses the unarmed black male victims of police shootings to calculate the chance of an unarmed black person getting killed by a cop. Hang on. Eric Gardner didn't die in a police shooting. Neither did Freddie Gray. If we consult the Guardian's compilation of deaths, we discover that actually, if we include cases of death beyond shootings, like being choked, beaten, tased, or bitten by police dog, 76 unarmed black men died at the hands of police in 2015, not 36. 76, folks, not 36. And this female is talking about there's not a problem when 76 unarmed black men are dead. And in this, some are tased, some are choked, some police dogs chewed to death, whatever. And that has happened. I mean, I remember a case here recently. A man died in police custody, neck was broke. How did that happen? As he slipped or something. You know, something gonna be made up. But when you look, see, so all of these numbers that just addresses the ones shot by bullets, it still doesn't address the ones that have been killed by chokeholds, killed by beatings, killed by taser, killed by dogs. These are numbers as well. And so he says actually in 2015 the number is more accurately 76 rather than 36. But folks, 76 people not coming home. That's a problem. How does this individual come to this ridiculous conclusion that there's not a problem when 76 people who wasn't armed, many different methods and ways of taking down unarmed people? If you can bring in known mass murderers unharmed, no bullets in them, and subdue them, and they're known to kill, but these individuals that have no weapons at all, and you can't come up with a method of subduing them, it's a problem, folks. And all the statistics and there are many reports, and again, I'm gonna get to some of them. Many of them reveal this. So how this individual comes to this conclusion, again, is just fallacious, and she's on somebody's puppet strings. It's clear. But you know what? In the interest of time, I'm going to shut this down because this has already gone 32 minutes. I'm going to shut this down and pick this up with a part 2. And we're going to pick this up again. But be in prayer for this young lady because she definitely needed. And be in prayer for those and for those who have lost loved ones, the 36, the 76 in 2015. These people are these are children that will never see their father again. These are wives that will never see their husband again. Fathers and mothers, and this woman has the audacity to come on and talk about there's not an issue here. That's 76 in 2015. 2016 is 16, but that's just the ones that got shot with bullets. That's not the ones that police dogs, tasers, chokeholds, beatings, and so forth. 2017, it was 19, just bullets alone, not including taser, dogs, beatings, and so forth. 2018, right now it's standing at 13. To sit here and suggest that there's not a problem here, and then to make this fallacious comparison to 147 cops in 2016 when that number can't even be found, and as I stated is 135, and that's including car accidents and all kinds of forms of death, and to leave people with the notion and to string those words together to give the impression that black folks killed 147 cops in 2016 is just I mean, you know, it's ridiculous, and it's how would I say it? It's disingenuous, if I wanted to go. I mean, it's just deceitful. And folks, it only gets worse. But I'm going to shut this down here and start a part B. I don't want these to be too incredibly long. God bless.